I think you and I are destined to do this forever.
You'll be in a better jail forever.
Maybe we could share one. You know, they'll be doubling up the rate this
Games.
inhabitants are losing their minds.
Hello. I am Aoyalaipe, and I like to hop into top tier matches in War Thunder and then personally kill the entire enemy team by myself. Welcome to my channel. Oh boy, it's time for another Squadron video. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the insanity that is top tier aircade in War Thunder, one of the defining features is the petty, never-ending gang wars in rank 8. At any given time, there are two main squadrons. Currently they are ITRA and VPO, and to make a long story short, if these squadrons see each other in a match, they'll kill each other. But if they don't see each other, well, then obviously their tactics just devolve into them ganking random people because, hey, this is a video game, and that's what you do when you have 2 to 4 elite players coordinating in voice comms like these squadrons do. However, I look at these roving packs of squadron players, and then come up with dirty and creative ways to kill them over and over and over again by myself, and then put it on YouTube set to cheesy game show music. Because, as I explained just a minute ago, top tier arcade is kind of insane. So the premise for this video is very simple. I'm going to explain the background to today's dirty plan, and then I'm going to show you it working. Now, this time I'm going to be using a Rafale, and I'm not going to explain how to use and abuse the Rafale because I already made a video about that where I explained like the math and stuff, and I made that video so this video could fully focus on all of the treachery and deception. And apparently in that video I was pronouncing Rafale wrong. It should be Rafale. And I was gonna fix the pronunciation for this video, but then I remembered that I don't negotiate with terrorists or the French. Now, if you've been following my Squadron shenanigans, you will know that the main way Squadrons counter me is by finding and killing me before I can start snowballing their teams. So a lot of my screwing with them comes down to me making it hard for them to even know I'm in their match in the first place, and then making it hard for them to actually find me once they do realize I'm in their match. And all of this is necessary because most of my strategies and tactics essentially revolve around bushwhacking them like an absolute weasel. And so this of course involves some devious planning ahead. So just as a quick recap of where we left off last time when it comes to the cat and mouse game, the blow by blow is that I would turn on streamer mode to mask my name, but then the squadrons memorized the streamer mode algorithm just to find me. So I asked all of my fans to turn on streamer mode just to spam the squadrons with false positives, while I constantly joined and left squadrons of random fans to confuse the hell out of them, thereby spamming the real people in the real squadrons with hordes of decoy Aoyalaipes in decoy squadrons, thus leading them to question their very sanity, which of course degrades their in-game performance. Because, as Sun Tzu once said, victorious players win first and then go to War Thunder. Defeated players go to War Thunder first and then seek to win. Oh, and quick side note, you can still totally do that if you want revenge against these squadrons. Just go here and click this button. That's all you have to do. I'll handle the rest. Now, the Rafale posed a unique challenge because it is a French plane. Now, you might think I'm teeing up a joke about surrendering, but no, the fact that it's French actually is a problem because no one really plays France. It's a pretty rare tech tree. The issue is that Gaijin basically lets me fly any plane in the game whenever I want because I have a big enough channel. And I'm the only TTA or top tier arcade player that is allowed to do that because I'm the only one with with the channel. And the TTA squadrons know this, and that means it's a lot easier for them to spot me if I'm flying something that is both good and rare, because I usually fly what is good, or at least they assume I do. Amusingly, however, my next video will feature a nutty air-to-air kill streak I went on with a bomber, just for the lulz. And I gave it an obnoxious skin, so my Australian fans will have something to look forward to next video. So anyways, it would take squadron players like 2 seconds to spot me whenever I was in a top tier French plane like the Rafale or the F-16 AM, which is an obscure jet that only I seem to like, but I do like it. So I figured, if I could hide a Rafale from these squadrons, I could hide anything from them. So this is a great time to go experiment with all the fun new ways I can think of to screw with them, and then just to see what worked. So the first issue was the skull decal. I was putting my usual big skull prop decal on the wings of my French jets, and they would see it whenever I killed them. And the Rafale is rare enough, particularly in arcade, that seeing a Rafale with that decal was a dead giveaway it was me. So I simply changed the decal to playing cards, and that seemed to fool the squadron players a decent chunk of the time. That is called a good proof of concept. And then I figured, let's pull out all of the stops. I have some of these Squadron guys on my friends list, because some of them are actually pretty good sports about me constantly screwing with them for the lulz. Some of them aren't, of course, but, you know, it's hard not to become at least a little bit friendly when you're spawn camping Rainbow Voldemort together. Look, for all of the salt they generate, it's easy to forget that Itras, they're not bad people. They just want to do whatever it takes to win. I can sympathize with that, and most of them have the single most important skill you can have in top tier air arcade, which is a sense of humor. So I logged on and abruptly kicked all of the Squadron players off my friends list, and then I changed decoy squadrons, but rather than getting a new one, I threw them a curveball and doubled back to rejoin a decoy squadron I'd already left, which I don't normally do, so thank you to TV Dill Pickle. And then I totally changed my paint job even more. I added these yellow arrow decals and these yellow bars. Now this doesn't mean anything, but it sure looks like it means something, and I figured that might confuse the Squadron players. And it took me 3 matches to go on a nutty kill streak against them. And yup, it's the Mount Aoyolaife map again. And what squadron is on the other team? Itra. Yup, this is about to become the most improbable trilogy you've ever seen. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is drop my gas tank. Do I need the gas? Yes, but I need the flight performance more because this time I'm facing a 4-man Itra squad on the other team, which, and I'm going to be up front here, is more than I can usually handle. I can take 2 or 3 of them at a time, but 4 is definitely an ask. So I have exactly no room for error here. And the next thing I do is I go hide behind Mount Aoyolaipe, which is this large rock formation over here that I used to ambush them on repeat in the last 2 videos. It's a long rock formation that covers like half of the left flank of this map, but it also feels unnatural to either hide behind or check behind, so it's basically perfectly designed to ambush people. Now, as of right now, the Micas are probably the best missile in the game for terrain ambushing, but when I actually filmed this match, it would have been the AIM-9M. And you can trust me on that because this is basically a shot-for-shot remake of the original video. So just to be clear, when I actually filmed this match, it was before the most recent patch. And in that patch, my opinion would have been that the Eurofighter was actually the best jet fronting squadron players because the AIM-9M was just so good for it. The AIM-9M and the AMRAAM would give you a lot of flexibility. You'd have all your bases covered, all the ranges. But I wanted to use the Rafale purely because I wanted to see if I could wipe out some squadron players with it. So my plan was actually to do the Rafale before the patch, then cover the new patch planes, and then use the Eurofighter to murder another batch of squadron players, like after the patch. But then the patch nerfed the AIM-9M so hard that the Rafale is actually way better at this than the Eurofighter now. So with the benefit of hindsight, I really should have played those planes in reverse, huh? Now, anyways, let's get down to all of the dirty tactics and how to implement them in practice. So if you're fighting alone against a group of elite players coordinating in voice comms, the single most important thing you can do is find a way to spam their attention span with so much nonsense that they cannot possibly pay attention to everything that matters. It's the same problem you have when a very fat man has a very small towel. Can he cover anything? Yes. Can he cover everything? No. And if you cut his towel in half, his life becomes a lot harder very quickly. In my first guerrilla warfare video, I called this DDoSing their brain, but apparently someone else had already invented the concept and it's actually called breaking their OODA loop. Now, DDoSing their brain is a better name for this, but apparently the concept of breaking the OODA loop predates the invention of DDoSing. So at top tier, there's 2 main ways to DDoS someone's attention span. The first is you can constantly hide, usually behind a mountain. A mountain's gonna be your best bet. In particular, this specific mountain I'm behind right now apparently is really effective. But sometimes clouds work as well, but mountain's always your best bet. If the enemy players can't directly see you, like if you're not marked on the map, then you put them in a pretty nasty dilemma. If they lose track of where you are, then you can just ambush and kill them yourself. However, it is a massive pain in the ass for them to keep track of you when they can't see you. They have to keep their eyes peeled for fleeting glimpses of you when you're spotted and light up on the map, and then they have to try to deduce where you should be and go there and kill you. And that can totally be done, but it eats up so much of their brain's bandwidth that it becomes impossible for them to keep track of you and keep track of everything else that's happening in the match. And that means that they'll just get ambushed and killed by everyone else over and over again. And you're actually going to see an awful lot of that happening towards the end of this match, when the Itra players finally realize I'm in the lobby and they desperately try to stop me, and then it just looks like they're flailing helplessly while they just get killed on repeat. Like, these aren't bad players or anything, that's just what it looks like when you successfully nuke someone's attention span, and we've seen this many times in my other Squadron videos. You'll look at me like, these guys look like they have no idea what's going on. I'm like, yeah, that was the plan. Welcome to Top Tier. The jungle speaks French. And you know, what's funny is, any longtime viewer will laugh at the rehashed joke, while any history nerd will laugh at the utter irony. You know, that running joke really came full circle, huh? Now, the second way to overload someone's attention span in War Thunder is to murder all of their team's sponges. Now, if you're new here, sponges are players who aren't very good at the game, and their main impact on the game is that they soak up the attention span and missiles of players who do actually know what they're doing. So if you ruthlessly cull the enemy team's worst players, but they don't do the same thing to you, then your team sponges won't be distracted by their team sponges, and that means your sponges will gradually overwhelm the attention spans of the people you're actually trying to kill. In other words, sometimes the best way to kill one specific player is to instead kill everyone else on their team and then laugh as they get swarmed because they're the only guy left. I have featured that tactic a few times, most recently in a video titled "A War Thunder Squadron Spent $2.04 Attempting to Kill Me," because that was the basic tactic I used to mess with a squad of VPO players so hard that I was able to get a 20-0 kill streak against them while in a full up tier. However, all that being said, I do have a huge extra special bonus for this particular match, and it's actually best demonstrated by the footage that Itcher player I'm killing right here was recording and then sent me after the game because, as I said, they're really good sports about this. You know, I'm not usually in the business of avenging VPO players, but yes, that's right. There is a pair of VPO players on my team. You know, the enemies in blue. And remember, Itcher and VPO are at war. They see each other a lot more often than they see me. Getting featured in one of my videos is one of those low probability, high impact events, but they see each other all of the time. They're a constant threat to each other. And what that means is that VPO and Itcher players are the ultimate sponges for each other. If they see each other, they will aggressively focus on each other. In other words, that means they're basically guaranteed to be distracted, at least near the beginning of the match before they realize I'm also in the lobby in disguise. And what that means is the situation awareness of these 4 Itcher players is degraded so significantly that it will take them longer than usual to realize that I am turning their squad into a YouTube video. And on top of all that, it's just hard for them to see my plane because I camouflaged it with bright yellow lines. Seriously, I can't believe that actually worked. Like, as soon as I replaced the skulls with playing cards, the heat died down. I was like, oh, I can just change out the decals and they won't know it's me. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna paint bright yellow lines on this and they're not gonna know it's me. People would be like, yeah, it doesn't seem like something Aoipe would paint on his plane, which is exactly why I would paint it on my plane. This is probably going to be a pretty good selling point, actually, once my custom decal comes out, because it's probably going to be pretty obnoxious. You know, I think I've just about narrowed in on a design for that thing. So being like, the more of you buy this decal, the more that you get to see it in a video, is going to motivate people to buy it, because watching me kill people with the decal ideas, it's gonna be pretty priceless. But of course, if I'm the only one who has it, it's a dead giveaway that's me, and like, people will stop me while there's still time. I still do have a custom store link that gives you a discount. I'll link in the video description, but of course you don't get the decal with the purchase because I don't have a decal yet. You just get the discount. Anyways, now at this point in the video, I've actually killed quite a few Itcher players directly, such as that one right there, for example. And that means they will probably take notice of this crazy guy's killing them and realize that's me and that I'm in the lobby, and that means they will try pretty hard to stop me once they realize it's me. They don't want to be on YouTube again. For all of the hoopla, my disguises do not stand up to much scrutiny, because if they just check my player card, they'll know it's me because I have a pretty distinctive player card and I can't spoof that. I have 10,000 kills in an obscure MiG-21 variant. And if they realize I'm in their lobby, there's a good chance they'll just be like, oh, god damn it, it's Aoipe again. He's in our lobby again. He's probably ambushing us from the same spot he always uses to ambush us. So let's go kill him. Now, in the previous Guerrilla Warfare video, I actually gave a detailed explanation of how Itcher could kill me when I'm hiding behind Mount Aoipe. Here, let me play that real quick. And since having your squadron murdered by one guy hiding behind this specific mountain is a recurring issue for some people, let me quickly explain the counter move so you know for the future. But again, try not to be seen or I might cut past my own AAA cover while there's still time to get behind the canyons south of my spawn and then triple back to counter ambush you. Man, I wonder why people hate this game mode so much. You know, it attracts a certain kind of person, that's for sure. Now, I know I might be thinking a bit too far ahead here, but I'm now going to avoid Mount Ayoyalaipe as much as possible, and instead hide behind a few other mounds over here and here. And I did that because I was concerned that Itcher might have taken the previous 2 videos to heart and worked out how to counter ambush me if I pulled the same crap on them again. But if I'm actually all the way over here, and they're looking for me over here, then Mount Ayoyalaipe actually just becomes a trap for my counter ambush. Amateurs. Okay, but seriously, the Rafale is fast enough that if Itra went looking for me behind Mount Ayoyalaipe when I'm actually over here behind this mountain instead, then I can get from where I am to where they are and kill them before they can react. The Rafale, as I said, is that fast. And the reason I didn't mention this in the last Guerrilla Warfare video is because actually I made that video before the Rafale was released, so you know, the game changes. And you know, you have to adapt or die, right? And my guess about when Itcher would start really focusing me was pretty spot on, because this is around when they really start focusing me pretty hard. And it starts with this guy who almost killed me with his carcass that I almost flew into. And they actually went looking for me behind my new hiding spot, and I guess I could call that a counter ambush attempt, but I mean, I think that bit just stops working. It's just a pile of confusion, which is good. That's what I was going for. Everyone is confused except me because I'm the one who's confusing everyone. Now, as I explained earlier in this video, now that Itra is aggressively focusing me and trying to, you know, work out where they am so they can kill me, that means they don't have enough bandwidth to keep track of everything else if they're trying to keep track of me. So that means I need to flip tactics. Instead of ambushing them myself because they didn't know I was there, you know, I could just pop out and be like, ha ha ha, you're gonna get nailed with a Micah, you know, Fox 3. I should instead run around like an absolute weasel and let them get third-partied, trying and failing to kill me. That's what happened to the J8F that was chasing me a second ago. As I explained in my Rafale Cyberbullies Noobs with Math video, the Rafale is so fast that if you have even sporadic cover from the ground, like small hills or whatever, and you play defensively, it becomes almost impossible for someone else to kill you unless they get really close to you. And it's tricky for the Itcher players to get close enough because I've already shot down their best jets. They've gone snowballed a little bit, so my Rafale is faster than them. And you can also tell that they're really confused because the people are chasing me die and then they lose sight of me. And like as you can see off in the corner, one of them actually flew to the hiding spot I was using a minute ago when I actually went and hid behind a different hill behind my own spawn, and now I'm on the other side of the map. It's like playing whack-a-mole from hell. And because I've eliminated most of their team sponges, but my team sponges are still up, it's almost impossible for them to get me. They have to run a huge gauntlet that's also very confusing, a huge, very confusing gauntlet. And they're just going to take casualties, lots and lots of casualties. And making matters worse for them is that I have cover, you know, hills, that are behind my team's airfield and next to my team's spawn, which is basically the most ridiculously overpowered positioning advantage you can ever have in this game, because you're just kind of sandwiched between several different ways to kill you. And that's ignoring the fact that I can see them coming. There's multiple places for me to take cover, so I can just change cover, circle back, and start shooting at them as well. It's real nightmare to deal with me if I'm over here. And the reason I didn't use this hill in my other videos, when I messed with Itra on this map, is that it's a really bad place to be if you want to ambush people in the middle of the map. But I mean, if they know roughly where I am and they're coming to kill me, I can just stay put. So actually, the counter move here is just let me sit behind the hill and ignore me. Because I've essentially put all my chips on defense. If they don't attack me, then I'm a non-factor. Really, the only way for them to kill me is if they manage to box me in, which is difficult if I get them third-partied fast enough, or if I do something stupid like turn around to fight them when there's someone else following me, and they can just cut the corner, and once they get me into a turn fight, I can't get out, because that provides enough of a delay that the other Itra players can just dogpile me and then I'm dead. In order to not let them pin me down, I need to be going fast during the brief windows where they do actually know where I am, where they do actually spot me, so that I can get somewhere far away before they're actually able to organize and box me in. If they know where I am, and then they decide to coordinate a plan, but they lose track of where I am before they can implement the plan, then they don't know where I am. I don't know when those windows where they'll be able to see me will be. And you also have to remember that I can lose track of Itra in this terrain as well. and if one of them gets close enough to me that they force me to maneuver, I'll bleed off speed and the other 3 can jump me. And the way I avoid that is I stay fast. It's a lot harder for them to ambush me if I'm just going fast. So what this all comes together to mean is that no matter what, I always have to be going crazy stupid fast to avoid getting killed by the Itcher players, and that means I need to spam my afterburner. And counterintuitively, that is why I dumped my drop tank at the start. If you're trying to take out a squad of 4 elite players coordinating voice comms, it will, at the very least, take a really long time. Translated into plain English, that means there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to do that on 1 tank of gas, even with a drop tank. And there's also no way for me to land for gas without just getting bounced on the runway. So to be perfectly blunt, my plan was to just run this jet out of gas, let it crash, and then pop it back up to get a new jet, because Itra will not have time to run me out of gas twice. So anyways, in another almost shot-for-shot remake of the original, Itra is now hiding behind Mount Aoyalipe, and I'm going to use my last few drops of gas to go for broke and try to get a few more of them. But I misjudge where exactly they are, and I missed my chance to take a shot. I just couldn't get an angle on them. I shot at the rocket instead of the plane. So anyways, I am now out of gas, out in the open, and Itra is right behind me, all of them, and they know where I am, and they really want to kill me. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna die, and I mean, that was gonna happen anyways because I was out of gas. So, just like in the original video in this trilogy, I shoot down 2 more planes while gliding to my inevitable death. I mean, yeah, seriously, the amount of deja vu in this trilogy is just wow. It's like I'm making a completely original ripoff of my earlier work. And it's funny because it's not supposed to be possible. Like, I shouldn't be able to make a series out of this. It's kind of like how the Titanic got a sequel, you know, with like that submarine. Like, I've done this stuff on other maps, but like, for some reason, they just really don't know what to do with that specific rock formation. Oh, and I figured this would be a great time to take a very quick break. So, let me thank my super thanksers, Stygian85, who gave me $50, and Ducky Yandere, who wants t-shirts so bad that he pays me for a t-shirt every video, even though I don't have t-shirts yet. We shall see. Also, this is your obligatory reminder to like and comment to feed the algorithm. Now, anyways, you remember how all those Itra guys, like, all dogpiled me? Yeah, that was, like, on the other side of Mount Aoyalipe. So that means I know where they all are, and that also means I know I'll have a big head start if I make sure I run to the right at the highest possible speed when I respawn, because positioning is overpowered. And sure enough, there is an Itcher guy that does try to spawn camp me, but I get out of the spawn before he gets a chance. And he's also in a slow as balls AV-8 Harrier because his faster planes all got shot down by someone. Yeah, I wonder who that could have been. I wonder who did that. Oh, you know, now I think about it, that might explain why he's trying to kill me so bad. But, you know, I'm in a faster jet, so I just gain some distance and turn around. And I do take some pot shots at him, but he gets third-partied just trying to chase me down before my missiles hit him. And at this point, like, an increasingly absurd number of enemy players just start dogpiling me, but my jet is faster than theirs, and I have a lot of terrain I can use to dodge their missiles. Because, remember, missiles don't go through mountains. And, like, they do seem to just start kamikaze charging me on the assumption that I can't kill them all. And, like, historically speaking, that has been a flawed assumption that many people have made around me. That tends to be part of how I broke those world records, you know? Hello, heathens, have you heard about our Lord and Savior terrain masking? Anyways, Itra just lost another jet trying to charge me. It didn't work. So at this point, one Itra player actually was sent back to the lobby. He ran out of jets. The AV-8 went down, the J-11 went down. There's actually one Itra player left in the air at the moment. He's in an F-14, but like at this point, the whole enemy team's trying to kill me. My RWR is just lighting up like a Christmas tree. Like, the amount of casualties they're taking is insane. I'm not even killing them. Like, they're just charging me and getting shot down because they get third-partied because I set them up. Yeah, and then the last Itra player gets blown up trying to kill me too, and then he lands a gun kill, which is then kill stolen by a sponge named Testy123. So I was like, wow, that was a crazy shot. So I decided to put in slow-mo to see how those bullets connected and shot off my right wing. And at first I was like, wow, I got Gaijined. I mean, I had the Rafale on a test drive, so I guess Gaijin giveth, Gaijin taketh away.
Seize him. Cut his throat. Stop. Wait. I've changed my mind. Let him go.
But then I checked the replay, and actually the F-14 totally missed me. It was actually a clutch missile shot by an F-15. He was nowhere near me, but given the angle, he would have had to have hooked that missile over the mountain, which is A really good shot. Nice shot, dude. Yeah, so Gaijin was innocent here. It was actually just a skill issue. Look, I'll admit it. If the match just devolves into the entire enemy team running around desperately shooting at me like I'm some sort of raid boss, they will sometimes, on occasion, manage to hit me. You know, eventually. Not always, but that is, you know, sometimes how it ends. Anyways, with my Rafale out of the way, the surviving Itcher players managed to mop up what was left of my team.
We lost, but next time, we'll win.
Well, at least I made him work for it. And technically, this means it was one of those rare matches where both Itcher and VPO got massacred on repeat. You really don't see that very often. Anyways, don't forget to like and comment to feed the algorithm. And if you subscribe and ring the bell, you won't have to remember how to spell AOLIP next time you watch one of my videos.